The poison by which the weaker nature is destroyed is strengthening to the strong individual, and he does not call it poison. The moral earth, too, is round the moral earth, too, has its antipodes, the antipodes, too, have their right to exist. There is still another world to be discovered, and more than one set sail, you philosophers. Art is the proper task of life. What makes us heroic? Confronting simultaneously our supreme suffering and our supreme hope. I notice that autumn is more the season of the soul than of nature. A thought, even a possibility, can shatter and transform us. When one has a great deal to put into it, a day has 100 pockets. The advantage of a bad memory is that one enjoys several times the same good things for the first time. Every profound spirit needs a mask even more. Around every profound spirit a mask is continually growing. We forget our guilt when we have confessed it to another, but the other does not usually forget it. The wisest man would be the one richest in contradictions, who has, as it were, antennae for all types of men, as well as his great moments of grand harmony, a rare accident even in us, a sort of planetary motion. Spirit is the life that itself cuts into life with its own torment. It increases its own knowledge. Did you already know that? The vanity of others runs counter to our taste only when it runs counter to our vanity. The tree that would grow to heaven must send its roots to hell. One must have all the virtues to sleep well. Shall I bear false witness? Shall I commit adultery? Shall I covet my neighbor's maid? All that would go ill with good sleep. Faith not wanting to know what the truth is. What we do in dreams we also do when we are awake. We invent and fabricate the person with whom we associate and immediately forget we have done so. Only where there are graves are there resurrections. Faith is the path of least resistance. Without cruelty there is no festival, thus the longest and most ancient part of human history teaches, and in punishment there is so much that is festive. I understand by freedom of spirit something quite definite, the unconditional will to say no, where it is dangerous to say no. My solitude doesn't depend on the presence or absence of people. On the contrary, I hate who steals my solitude without, in exchange, offering me true company. Madness is the exception in individuals, but the rule in groups. Dancing in all its forms cannot be excluded from the curriculum of all noble education. Dancing with the feet, with ideas, with words, and, need I add that one must also be able to dance with a pen. The best friend will probably acquire the best wife, because a good marriage is founded on the talent for friendship. When one has not had a good father, one must create one. There are two different types of people in the world, those who want to know, and those who want to believe. The greatest cure for love is still that time-honored medicine, love returned. The snake that cannot shed its skin perishes. Many a peacock hides his peacock tail from all eyes and calls it his pride. You know a moment is important when it is making your mind go numb with beauty. Become who you are. The higher man is distinguished from the lower by his fearlessness and his readiness to challenge misfortune. If a man has a strong faith, he can indulge in the luxury of skepticism. The beautiful exists just as little as the true. In every case it is a question of the conditions of preservation of a certain type of man. Thus the herd man will experience the value feeling of the true in different things than will the overman. Did you ever say yes to a pleasure? Oh my friends, then you also said yes to all pain. All things are linked, entwined, in love with one another. The Christian faith from the beginning is sacrifice, the sacrifice of all freedom, all pride, all self-confidence of spirit. It is at the same time subjection, self-derision, and self-mutilation. War has always been the grand sagacity of every spirit which has grown too inward and too profound. Its curative power lies even in the wounds one receives. One should die proudly when it is no longer possible to live proudly. Ultimately, it is the desire, not the desired, that we love. Man's maturity to have regained the seriousness that he had as a child at play. I assess the power of a will by how much resistance, pain, torture it endures and knows how to turn to its advantage. Man is the cruelest animal. The reasons and purposes for habits are always lies that are added only after some people begin to attack these habits and to ask for reasons and purposes. At this point, the conservatives of all ages are thoroughly dishonest. They add lies. Everything in the world displeases me, but, above all, my displeasure in everything displeases me. The purpose of criminal law is to punish the enemies of those in power. When we are tired, we are attacked by ideas we conquered long ago. I need solitude, which is to say, recovery, return to myself, the breath of a free, light, playful air. If a man wishes to become a hero, then the serpent must first become a dragon, otherwise he lacks his proper enemy. Blessed are the forgetful, for they get the better even of their blunders. Call me whatever you like, I am who I must be. At the beginning of a marriage, ask yourself whether this woman will be interesting to talk to from now until old age. Everything else in marriage is transitory. Most of the time is spent in conversation. The weak and misbegotten shall perish. A first principle of our brotherly love, and they shall be given every assistance. The best weapon against an enemy is another enemy. Whoever writes in blood and aphorisms wants not to be learned, but to be learned by heart. Give me today, for once, the worst throw of your dice, destiny. Today I transmute everything into gold. Talking much about oneself can also be a means to conceal oneself. O my brothers, am I then cruel? But I say that which is falling should also be pushed. The strength required for the vision of the most powerful reality is not only compatible with the most powerful strength for action, for monstrous action, for crime, it even presupposes it. Your only problem, perhaps, is that you scream without letting yourself cry. Two great European narcotics, alcohol and Christianity.